In this lecture, we'll talk another important element of marketing, which is pricing. Some people say pricing is the product. Pricing is the element which talks the most about your product. Sometimes people just mix it with the product and try to evaluate the product just solely based on its pricing. Based on a research done by McKinsey on more than 2,000 firms, the managers in the firms identify the most important factor in profitability is due to pricing. 1% improvement in fixed costs causes a 2.3% increase in profitability, whereas a 1% improvement in volume causes 3% improvement in profitability. A 1% improvement in variable costs causes 7% improvement in profitability. On the other hand, 1% improvement in pricing improves more than 11% in profitability of a company, which makes it the most important and strategic element. So what determines the pricing? First of all, customers is the most important element in pricing. Another one is the competitors. Another one is the company itself. And the partners, the distributors, suppliers, customers, retailers, franchisors. So these determine the price. And another one is the context, the environment, the situation, how the negotiation is done, what is the atmosphere. Now I'll talk first of all the company's own facts. So the company first need to decide whether they will offer a cost-based pricing or a value-based pricing. Cost-based pricing means the company looks for the manufacturing costs and adds a margin to the product and then sells with this target costing. And then again, it looks for the internal rate of return and the company's own strategic goals. On the other hand, value-based pricing sure looks for the cost, but they don't necessarily price the product based on that cost pricing. They price the product based on positioning. They think that, okay, this product has this amount of value. For example, let's say the product will cost $10 and you put a margin and try to sell it at $20. Maybe the product has value of $100 for the customer. So the value-based pricing says that instead of the $20, you should price the product for $100. Or vice versa, if your costs are higher than the willingness to pay from the customers or higher than the value perceived by the customers, then you should lower your costs in order to be profitable. Another criteria is the consistency in the product mix. The company should look for the consistency, so you should price your product in the range of the other products. For example, I can give an example from a football team. In Turkey, sometimes some big players are transferred to Turkish teams, like Drogba, Schneider, different players, but sometimes the team goes bad instead of going well. The reason is the team pays a higher salary for those players, which makes inconsistency within the team members. So by looking at this analogy, it is similar within the product mix of a company. Another one is the consistency in brand image. So if you are a premium product supplier and you offer a low-end product, then it might create an inconsistency from the customer's mind. Or if you are known as a design company and if you provide a low design, bad design product at a lower price, then it creates an inconsistency. And another strategy is price skimming or price penetration strategies from the company's perspective, especially when introducing new products. So these are the two fundamental strategies in new product offerings. Price skimming refers to getting the higher amount of value from the customers by offering the new product. For example, the technology companies like Intel, Microsoft, Apple does this kind of price skimming. Think about Intel, they offer new microcomputer chips every year, and each time they introduce, the price is higher. But when months go by, not even years, the months, after a few months, you will see the price goes maybe half the amount it's introduced. The reason why the price skimming works is that there are different types of customers in the public. Like 2.5% of the customers are innovators. 13.5% of the population are early adopters. More than 38% are early majority. So since we have different types of people in the population, especially the innovators and then the early adopters are willing to pay a premium price in order to possess the product earlier than anyone else. On the other hand, market penetration works if you would like to gain a high market share since day one. Okay, so you are threatened by other competitors following behind you, and you would like to get a volume. You would like to get higher profits by reaching a wider range of people. Then you can use a price penetration strategy in order to penetrate a wide coverage of the population. Competitors' effects are pricing as well. So the aggressiveness of the competitors, are they lowering their prices in order to be competitive? For example, retailers, supermarkets are really competing on each other. Some supermarkets are so aggressive. And on the other hand, it might cause you to respond with price as well. However, this is a lose-lose situation for many companies, for many categories. Although the competitors might be aggressive, the want to respond with price leads you at a worse position. And the positioning of the competitors might force you to go to other ends of the segments, to other ends of the customers. This is valid for example, as an example, this is valid for the sustaining technologies and the disruptive technologies. When a company is, let's say, in billions, selling billions of dollars, and they have a sustaining technology, their offerings are well received by the customers. But when there is a disruptive technology coming below, think about the taxi companies and the Uber. Uber is a disruptive technology. So taxi companies try to respond by complaining to the government authorities. But they do not try to improve their services. They do not try to respond by a differentiated service. Although they are pushed forward to another positioning from Uber. They might either choose to go for a premium segment, or they might either choose to come united with other taxi drivers to compete with Uber. If they do not do that, they will be lost. The most important element in determining price is the customers, we said. So on the most fundamental level, the customers look from economic perspective and psychological perspective. That's why we can also call it a behavioral economics perspective as well, because the psychology plays a major role, even if you decide or not. The early economists, they were saying man is a rational human being, trying to maximize utility in the case of minimum resources with the constraints. This is a rational thinking. In the rational thinking, people try to evaluate different alternatives and then try to come up with the best alternative, however, which is not the case. Most people are not rational. On the other hand, they are predictable. For this issue, I would like to suggest you to read a book called Predictably Rational by Dan Ariely. He gives a good perspective on this phenomenon. Let's first look at the economic perspective. and try to see how price sensitivity is affected, the price sensitivity of the customers, the price elasticity, as we call it in economics, is affected from different factors. First of all is the value perceived. All people have a perception about the value that the product offers, and the perception is the reality, we already said. So when there is a change in the value perception, the price sensitivity will change from the customers. Another one is the total cost. When the product is part of a total budget in different products, then the price elasticity might depend on that. For example, think about a case when you go to a supermarket to buy a $5 worth of stuff, and think about yourself trying to calculate the differences between various products in terms of cents, okay, not even a dollar. But on the other hand, think about your purchasing situation when you buy a car which will cost you more than $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. In that case, I mean, you are not calculating the small pennies. Even you are not calculating hundreds of dollars, and you are calculating in terms of thousands of dollars. So we can say people think in relative terms, not in nominal terms, which I mean by this total cost concept. Another one is shared expenses. Think about your situation when you spend with your own budget and when you spend from company's budget, from a sponsored budget. Okay, so you might behave differently in those different circumstances. Or think about a case when you go to a dinner with your friends with 10 to 20 people, and think about the situation when you divide equally the total amount. So in that case, you eat more than you will have eaten by yourself. So the shared expenses changes your price sensitivity for that product. Another strategy, we can say the pain of paying. So we all feel pain when you pay something, okay? So companies try to solve this problem by strategically charging you money before you even make the purchase, so that you do not think about the purchase or you do not think about the pain. For example, gym membership. You have a full years of membership and you already paid. You do not think about going to the gym each time you would like to go. Or think about the case, the Apple Store. So you give your credit card, and each time you make a purchase, you do not give cash or you do not enter your credit card details, which causes you to make more purchases because the pain of paying has decreased. Another one is the uncertainty in price and quality. In times when we cannot decide on the level of quality for the product, for the service, then we cannot think clearly about the price because we do not have that expertise. We do not have that knowledge, information about the service that we are getting. For example, think about the case when you go to a doctor, when you go to a lawyer, an accountant. You cannot measure those services, and it is ambiguous with others how the quality of service will be. So sometimes in order to decrease that uncertainty, you go for a premium service. You say, okay, higher price indicates a premium service, and you take that as a cue, as a heuristic to understand the level of quality for the product, which also determines price sensitivity. And finally, another one is the ease of comparison. Think about the situation. You go to a supermarket, you try to buy, let's say, spaghetti from a brand, let's say Barilla, and also a private label from the supermarket. Again, it's not so easy to compare the brands. In that case, the retailer offers another private label, which is maybe a lower cost or which is a higher cost, which makes it easier for you to compare the different products. In that case, they will forward you to think between the private labels instead of a brand label and a private label. They will make you think between those two private labels. Then, related to this topic, I would like to talk a phenomenon called Decoy Effect. Look at this example. This is from the Economics magazine, and this belongs to a few years ago. Maybe the numbers have changed currently. The web subscription for economists is $59, but the print subscription for the economist is $125. Now, tell me, which subscription would you buy from economist? I mean, if you were to select one of the two. Okay, most people choose in this case the web subscription because it's cheaper. It offers less value because it doesn't have a print magazine, but it's cheaper. Now let me add another item. Now the Economist offers web and print subscription combined at a price of $125, and which is similar, which is the exact number of the print subscription. Now tell me, which one would you choose? Confronted with this situation, most people choose the bundled solution now because it is easier to compare between the print subscription and print and web subscription bundled. It is the same price, but the bundled solution offers the most value. Now in this case, instead of the cheaper version, people go for the bundled version because it provides more value and it's easier to compare between the print and the bundled solution. So this is a really interesting and fascinating subject, right? In order to measure price sensitivity, we have different tools. We have experimental tools and the natural tools. We can look for the real data, real purchase data, and we can look for the preferences and intention data. So if it's real purchase data, we can make an experiment as a retailer, as a marketer, as a seller. If we change the price of one item in a supermarket, and if we would like to see how it affects the consumers' reactions to this price promotion, and if I look at the numbers of items which are sold during this period, then I can call this as a field experiment. In the field experiment, it has high external validity because it's done in the field. However, it does not have much internal validity, which means that during this experimentation period, there might have been other factors which might affect the sales data during this period, like the weather. Maybe it was too rainy and not many people came, or maybe there was another promotion ongoing in the supermarkets and people came for that promotion, or maybe it was a holiday and it was a different time, and because of all those and many other factors, the field experiment might not give you a 100% estimate of what was the real cause. That's why, in order to complement this field experiment, we use lab experiments. In the lab experiments, we change one variable at a time, and we do that not in the field, but we do that on a survey in class, or on a survey face-to-face, or on a web survey. But in that web survey, we ask different conditions. We ask different situations for the customers in order to see how they will respond differently in those different situations. In this case, it has high internal validity and it allows us to compare it allows us to find the underlying causes, the cause and effect relationship for the independent factors and the sales data. Another one is the conjoint analysis. Again, it's an experimental method and it looks for the preferences and intentions. And conjoint analysis is used mainly for new product introductions by the marketers. And in conjoint analysis, different attributes, features of the products are combined in different combinations. So different versions, different varieties of the product are prepared with the different product cards. Let's say in one product card it is green color, in another it is blue, in another it is yellow. In one product card it's in square shape, in another it is circle shape, in another it is triangle shape. So in one product card it has one slogan, in another a different one, in another a different one. So by combining different variables in one variety, we try to see which one will be chosen the most by the customers in the conjoint analysis. So instead of changing one variable, we change more than one variable and we'll look at as a whole in the conjoint analysis. Another way is to look at survey data. So before offering the product, we can make a survey and we can try to see the purchase intention of a new product. How likely are you willing to purchase this product? So we can understand their stated intentions. Okay, the experimental data will allow us to find the unstated intentions, but in the survey we can learn about the stated intentions. And finally, we can look for the real purchasing data, real sales data, and we can try to see by looking at number crunching, data analysis, big data analysis, small data analysis. We can look for the factors which cause the sales, more sales or less sales, which we can look for the reasons for that outcome. And finally, I would like to talk about the psychological factors of pricing. Psychological factors are amazing and it's a huge topic. Just I would like to mention a few of those. One of them is the odd numbers. You see that $3.99, $4.95, $3.97. So all those different odd numbers. So instead of evenly pricing the numbers at $4, $6, $10, many products are priced as like that. This is called psychological pricing. And in the experiments and in the data, it has been shown that people make more purchases when they're presented with this kind of numbering. Even if you like it or not, this numbering works. Another one is mental accounting. So in the mental accounting, the people put different budgets. They put the products in different budgets in their brains, in their minds. Let's say it means that you have a laundry budget for your home, you have a food budget, you have a rent budget, and this is just virtually and mentally in your mind, and you would like to stick with that. So sometimes if in your laundry budget $1 might seem too much for you, but for your health budget $1 is nothing. From a nominal perspective, actually $1 is just $1. But our brains do not work like that. We tend to think $1 in laundry is different than the $1 is in health in other categories. Or let's look at this example and try to see who is happier. First let's look at from a company's perspective and try to see when you sell two products, which is one of them is priced at $100, another one is priced at $50, and the company B, which sells a product at $150. So let's ask, who is happier? The company A is happier than company B, although the total amount of money they received from the sales is the same. The explanation for that is, they sell two products, so which makes it happier. On the other hand, for the customer, it is the same. The customer who buys two products and who pays $150 in total is happier than the customer who buys one product at $150. Also, think about this situation. Two people buys product, one of them buys a product at 150 liras and another buys the product at 100 liras, but the one who buys 150 liras are offered back 50 liras. So in total, both of them pays the total amount of money. And let me ask you again, who is happier? Yes, the one who gets back $50 is happier than the one who initially paid $100. Another psychological factor is probability theory, reference effect, or loss aversion. Think about the case. You are offered 100 liras or you are offered 200 liras with 50% probability. So in terms of the expected outcome, they are both equal. So expected outcome is 100 liras in both cases. But when we ask this to people, most people will choose 100 liras for sure instead of the 50% probability of 200 liras. Because most people are risk averse. And this goes to the loss aversion principle. So we evaluate losses more than we evaluate gains. So losses are more valuable than gains. We do not want to lose stuff. Okay? And I mean, all those psychology are used by marketeers. Another factor related to loss aversion is endowment effect. So, which means that we value the things that we own more than the things that we do not own. Okay, so the things that we possess are more valuable to us. In order to measure this effect, researchers made an experiment for a football match. So when two people are asked, one of them owns the ticket for a match of the year, for your favorite football team, for the champions match, so it's once in a lifetime opportunity. Let's say the tickets are sold for $100 and the one who does not have the ticket, says that the maximum he is willing to pay for the ticket will be $500. Okay, it's the maximum, but he's dying for the ticket. He is willing to pay so much for the ticket, even five times for the regular price. But the one who owns the ticket, he sees that it's a valuable experience. He possesses it. And when the people are asked in such scenarios, such situation, he says that the minimum he is willing to sell his ticket is $1,000. So there is a discrepancy between the maximum and minimum amounts to pay and sell for the ticket. So it is again the same. The companies employ this methodology to play on this cognitive bias. For example, giving lifetime guarantee or 30 days money back guarantee actually plays on the cognitive bias of endowment effect and loss aversion. Even if we do not like the product so much, okay, and even if we have the opportunity to make an exchange, to give the product back because there's a 30-day money back guarantee, most people will not change the product they have. The statistics show that only 10 to 20% or maybe 30% at most people will change the product, but the rest will keep the product even if they do not like it because of the endowment effect. We love the products that we own. We love the products that we possess. Another factor is the presentation order. So how the products are presented to the customer is important in evaluating the purchasing decision, in creating the preferences and intentions. Let me show you an example from one of my research with my colleagues at the university. So it's for a mobile phone category. So we created two hypothetical mobile phones, brand A and brand B. As you can see, there are 10 attributes for each product, and 4 of those attributes are exactly the same for both mobile phones. And the next 3 attributes are comparable attributes or alignable attributes. So you can compare brand A with brand B. So in that sense, brand B is better than brand A. And the last 3 attributes are non-comparable or non-alignable attributes. In that case, it's not easy to compare those brands because they offer different attributes, different features, different benefits. So we wanted to measure how the presentation order affects consumers' preferences or consumer confidences in purchasing, construction of those preferences. We have done various variations of this product features and presentation, and we have seen that the presentation order and the recency effect of the products have an effect of the consumer's construction of product preferences.